All right, good evening. So, as promised, somebody's already in the room. Yay. As promised, we are here on tonight. I have not done a powerful on purpose interview in a very, very long time. I think like 5 months. I retired it because, there was just so much going on at the moment and whatnot. But there are so many people that are stepping out on faith. There are so many women that are stepping out on faith, and they are really doing what God has purpose in their heart to do. And I think that when women begin to do that, it's really important that we have a safe space for women to be able to do that. I think it's really important that we support women in the process. And I think it's just really important that we give women the platform that they need to grow and to put themselves out there. So I decided to redo the Powerful on Purpose series. And as I do the Powerful on Purpose series, I really want to highlight women that you don't hear much of or who are brand new, because everyone has to start from somewhere. And if I can use my platform to do that, I am going to do that. So our Powerful on Purpose woman tonight, a new author. I know her very well. She's got an amazing spirit. Her name is Tina Frazier. I am going to use a little hi, Barbara. How are you? That's the other thing. As you come in, make sure you say hey, so I can throw you up on the screen, shout you out. So I'm going to read a little bit of her bio. Tina has a very extensive bio. So I'm going to read a little bit of it, and then I'm going to bring her on and we will get started with the interview. So simply put, Tina is a lover of Jesus. In fact, it's the love of Jesus that got Tina through some of the toughest times of her life. Tina feels that her experience in life, from childhood to becoming a teen mother, to becoming a young wife, and more recently a single mother of 4, gives her a unique and wide perspective when aiding teens and young adults. She holds an Associate of Science in Business Administration from Middlesex Community College, a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from Charter Oak State College, and a Master of Arts in Liberal Studies from Wesleyan University. First and foremost, I want to say that bio, if you are a single mom, if you are a mom who had, if you are a teen mom, this bio already shows you that there's nothing you can't get done. Like, my girl was out here and she still be going to school just for no reason. Like, she just loves to go to school. She loves to learn. Tina has a heart for the youth and desire to see them walk in their full destiny by helping them avoid many of the missteps she herself has made. She also feels called to minister to single and divorced mothers. Tina was a licensed minister to preach in 2005 and later ordained as a reverend in 2013. Based in CT, Tina is currently an elder in her local church where she ministers the word of God. She sings inside and outside of her church and released her first single, You Did It Before, The Prelude, in 2020 under the artist name of Cortina. In addition to music, Tina has always loved photography. We have a photographer in the room. As well. She stepped out on faith and launched Blue Alice Photography in 2020. Her first book, Built by Love, Kept by Grace, Beauty Out of Ashes, a memoir of overcoming, is now out. The bio says set to release. It is now out. Tina's desire is to cross barriers and to help create unity in the body of Christ. Only then, she believes, can the love, fruit, and gifts of the Spirit flow into the world in greater measure. I am going to bring Tina to the live stream, and we are going to get started. All right, Tina, you are here and you are live. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, well, how are you?
Doing great.
Good. All right. So first of all, I want you all to know that if I do a lot of smiling, it's because when I told Tina she would be doing this, she literally was like, oh, Lord. Because this is her first official interview. First of many, I'm calling it, and God will see her through each and every one of them. So, Tina, first and foremost, I want to ask you about your extensive bio. If you can think back a little bit, you are a teen mom, you're a single mother. What was that journey like mentally to get to the point where as a teen mom and as a single mom, you can get to this point of this many degrees and this many, it's a very stable kind of life that you've created for yourself with going to school, not becoming a stereotype. And we all know what those stereotypes are when we see teen moms, those biases that come out. What was that process like for you to get to this point where you're so accomplished and you're mentally stable. None of us are perfect, because I know you're already thinking, well, I'm not perfect. None of us are, but you're at this point where you're accomplished and you are, stable. What was that process like for you?
The process was long.
Mm.
And when I look back on it now and I see my children at their ages, it seems a little shorter, but it really felt very long. It really felt like an extended season of just struggle.
Mm.
It felt like I had to, you talk about being stable. I went through bouts of depression and anxiety and fear and different things while trying to accomplish all these things. And that's the what's the word? I think the word is paradox, because when I look back at my bio and I know myself, my feelings, it's like, what pushed me past that? And the only thing I can think of is God.
Right.
Faith that I had in God. And because otherwise I would have just been in my little shell, not doing anything, not really trying anything, not trying to achieve anything. And actually I had a conversation earlier today, and I thought about actually her birthday was yesterday, my maternal grandmother. And when she passed, I thought about what I wanted my eulogy to say.
Wow.
And I didn't want to get to the end of my life and not have it say the things that I wanted it to say. And that's another reason that kind of like pushed me and propelled me to try different things, even if I was terrified.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's
okay. You're doing, you're very, very, very eloquent. You're doing quite well. Now, I always have this thing where I think about where I was, and when I hear my bio, I'm like, who is this woman that we are like, who are they talking about? I have no idea who they are talking about. So I definitely understand where you are with that. And I think it's important. You said something that was very important, that while you were going through that, you were dealing with bouts of depression and, in a sense, going through bouts of depression and succeeding. So when you say it was only God that got me through, day in and day out, because women will watch this now and on the replay. And I have a lot of women who follow me who deal with that. Okay, how can I get where she is when I am where I am right now? Not realizing that we've all been there. So when you say it was only God that got you through, what were some of those thoughts and what were some of those motivating factors that got you to the point where you just got up every day and you kept going?
Well, I do want to say this. When we think about depression, we think of the basic stereotype of just laying in the bed in the dark, and I have some of those mornings, but I feel like a lot of people are brushed aside. I shouldn't say a lot of people, I don't want to generalize, but I feel like many people are brushed aside because they have a high level functioning depression.
Right.
So even though I was pushing myself, getting up, doing what I had to do, I was very broken inside. I was very depressed inside. And I would get questions because it's like, how can you be a Christian or a minister and be depressed? And I've always struggled with this. And I feel like it's also something that is in my family line, and can be genetically, predisposed or whatever have you. But I feel like realizing that I had the issue, and I talk about self-awareness in the book a little bit, I had to get to a point where I knew I needed help.
Right.
I got up and I pushed myself because of my babies. I didn't want to be that stereotype. I didn't want to lose custody of my sons. I didn't want to, react in a way that would jeopardize anything with them or me. That's what kind of kept me kind of stable. And it's not even that I knew a lot of people that had gone through that, but just I watch a lot of movies, I watch a lot of TV, I watch a lot of documentaries, and I just knew I didn't want to end up a certain way.
Nice.
Yeah. Part of my thing in writing this book, I didn't want it to seem like low income is bad, or I feel like I overthink a lot, and I don't want to be misunderstood because I took the help when I needed the help. you know, and I feel like even when I went to these places for assistance, I was looked down upon. I was talked down.
Right.
I was made to feel a certain way. So I never want to make anybody else feel that way. But I also wanted to acknowledge that I had this specific mindset and I knew it wasn't healthy for me, at least. And I didn't want to, I didn't want it to perpetuate in my family. I didn't want it to continue in my family. I wanted it to stop with me. And I don't know if that answered your question because
it does. Malika, yes, you can. You can ask a question. Please feel free to put it in the comments, and I'll bring it up. Barbara says, "Wow, love your transparency." And so yes, Malika, you can ask a question. I want to point out that as you said that there is part of your book where you said that during this time of brokenness, I felt as if everything either had stopped or should have stopped. Life was just going on, and I was struggling to function. I could not bring myself to pray. And at this point, this is an excerpt from your book, and you are writing about going through your divorce. So as we're getting there, I just wanted to say that part because when I read that part, that was a very real moment. You know, we are Christians, we are Christian women, and our life has fallen apart. As a divorced woman, I know what it feels like when something that you invested in falls apart. And you have to become self-aware. And what was my part? And I feel broken. Right. And now I'm struggling with this. So I wanted to bring that up because you just mentioned being self-aware. So in your book, as you're writing, what was that process like for you? Because many people don't want to be self-aware. That scares a lot of people because they have to look at themselves. So as you're writing your book, what was that process like of becoming self-aware? Just facing yourself.
That's difficult. I feel like when I was thinking about this interview, why do I write? And I write partly because it helps me to clarify my feelings, to put it into words. And when I was writing, I got very emotional. There were some times where I had to stop. There were times where I felt very vulnerable and I was like, I don't want this in print forever. So there are some things I feel like I'll talk about in person or talk about one-on-one, but I don't want to put it in writing. Being self-aware, I wish I was more self-aware back then, especially in my marriage, because I didn't handle things the way in a healthy way. Mm-hmm. So I wish the self-awareness came a lot sooner, but we all grow. I was young. I was 19 when I got married. We didn't know much of anything. But as I'm growing, even to this day, I feel like I need to be self-aware in order to grow, in order to change, in order to make a difference. I'm a person, I like accountability. It's not that it feels good all the time, but I don't want to give somebody else my power. I want the power to be able to change, to be able to grow, to be able to mature. Yeah.
Okay. So the book is out. Your book is out. Your book is released. Tina has already got her book is, if you look behind her, you will see the cover of your book. So your book is out. I have seen people begin to buy your book, and our group members already bought your book. Malika has asked a question about your book. She said, your anger with God resonates with me deeply. What helped you move forward? Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I have been in many moments of rebuilding and transforming and going through a divorce and trying to rebuild my life where I'm just like, God, what is we doing? Like, what is this? And I feel like I'm very honest about it. I was very honest about it in my book as well. But that's especially when you're a Christian, especially when you're in leadership, it is almost like taboo to mention, like, I was really angry with God. Yeah. And you wrote that, so she said, your anger with God resonates with me deeply. She wants to know what helped you move forward.
What helped me move forward was choice. And what I mean by that is no one made me choose what I chose. It was my decision. And I have free will just like everybody else has free will. So I can't blame God for this person not doing this to me, this person hurting me. I realized that God was there with me through it all, but he didn't cause it. That's how I processed it. And that's how I got through it.
Right. So I have to say, Tina, before we talked, if we can have a transparent moment, we were talked a lot about imposter syndrome and how it comes over you and the bubbles that you were feeling. I have to say that I have done a few interviews and I've never had people outright ask questions. So it's a new thing for me to have questions and then people want to engage. So I want you to know that out the gate, that your transparency and your honesty is already people are already feeling it and are already touched by it.
And I thank you. And I was thinking about that as well earlier. I was thinking there were some things I kind of want to take back from the book, but I knew not adding it in there, it wouldn't touch the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be relatable.
Yeah.
It's not that I wanted to put my business out there. It's not that I wanted to, hopefully it doesn't come across that I threw anybody under the bus. I try to be as respectful as possible to share my experience. But I wanted people to understand the depth of where I was and some of the experiences that I had and where I am now.
Right. So another question has come through. I am in loving this engagement with your book. And I'm going to ask this question and then we're going to talk about the process of you writing this book. I know y'all, Tina is a lot like me. We start to feel it. And this is a really big moment for her. So Tina's a lot, y'all don't see it, but I'll do the same thing. The question is, your village really came through for you and your boys. What was their reaction to your growth as an author?
I have gotten good feedback so far. Two of my elders called me and told me off in a good way because I forgot to tell them that I was writing the book. Fine. But I've gotten good feedback so far. I'm very thankful for the village that I had. You know, I don't know where me and my sons would be if I didn't have the support of people throughout different stages of my life and their life. But yeah, no one has really, said anything bad to me yet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
People are still getting copies and reading and.
Mm-hmm. So I remember, one of the things that it always scares new authors, and it scared me too, was how people are going to take this. So you have decided to write this book. Tell us about the process. You are writing this book. It's a memoir. Tell us about the process of writing. So I will tell you, I have written a book. It was not really a memoir. I myself also have to get over that shakiness of, ooh, child, I gotta write a memoir. Like, who do I add in? What do I take out? So what was your process like to write this book? And how do you feel now that you're on the other side?
Oh, that's a good question. My process, again, I got kind of tired of seeing some of my posts in my Facebook memories. I'm like, I still haven't finished this book yet.
Right. That's real.
I got in this part, I got this chapter, I finished the table of contents, I wrote an outline, and it was just, I think I knew I would feel it once I finished writing. Like, you're going to confront some things once you start writing. And an example I want to give is, I took a memoir class a few years ago, and she had us do a writing exercise in the class. And she had us start with what our room looked like when we were little, what our room looked like as a teenager, and what our room looked like as a young adult. By the time I was done writing this information, my conclusion was, why do I have so much stuff?
Wow.
Why can't I let stuff go?
Wow.
And that was just a simple exercise. But to me, writing is clarifying my feelings. And that's why I say when I journal, it's an as needed prescription, because it's something that I need to release. It's something that I need to get out. So yeah, the process was difficult. It took me a couple years also because, I'm like, do I wait until certain people pass on? Do I wait until, do I ask them? Do I do this? But it's my story. It's my testimony. It's my experience.
Right.
So I just decided, I really need to just go ahead and do this. And I've always liked writing. I've always liked writing songs, poetry, different things. But I was also prophesied to by two different people in a span of probably 10 years apart, about me being an author and writing books. And it's like, when are you just going to do it?
Right. Yep.
Try, and I filled out for a TBN contract thing, and they wrote back, but they wanted a certain amount of money. I couldn't raise that amount of money. So I went ahead and just self-published it with the donations that I received. But it's been a process. It's been a process of writing it, releasing it. I saw a term today that said writer's remorse, kind of like buyer's remorse. You kind of want to take it back. But the conversation I had earlier with someone encouraged me that, I did the right thing, and it was very helpful, and they encouraged me to keep writing, using my gift in writing. So
now you're on the other side. You have made it through. You have made it through that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Someone was writing my book. There was one particular chapter where I cried the entire time as I'm typing. Yeah. I'm like typing and crying. I'm like, where are the spelling errors? I'm crying the entire time. And then, when it came out, I was like, oh, I'm looking back at it, I'm like, wow, I was really angry during that time. Like, it's like now I don't even recognize my own words because I was so angry when I wrote the book. But being on the other side of it, how do you feel now that it is done? You have published, people are buying your book. What is it like now to be on the other side?
I feel I go through waves. I'm happy that I did it. I'm happy that I released it, because ultimately my thing is to spread the gospel and to tell my testimony, which I want to inspire somebody to give Jesus a try, to give God a try. And I think I did it, hopefully, as the book says, with grace. I hope I came across not bitter, not angry. I don't want to make somebody else want to go and hide somewhere. So I wanted to tell my story. And I believe I did that. And I feel I go through waves.
Yeah.
I'll go through waves. So
yeah. Well, it's still very new. One thing that I have realized, and I think you have realized, and for every budding author on here, we all, just like you, I've wanted to be an author since I was a little girl. It was my dream. And for some reason, just because it's your dream and your passion doesn't mean it will happen automatically.
Right.
And I sat back now and I think I became the author that I always wanted to become, but I had to put in the work to do that.
Right.
I had to take the first step and start writing, as did you. So I think that's a powerful point. Now, I want to ask
the memoir class.
Say that again.
Like, I took the memoir class. That was one of my steps in preparing myself to try to write and do it the right way.
Right.
Use my gift, but also get skill in using the gift.
There's a comment for me. You came across filled with conviction, compassion, and clarity.
Oh, great.
So this is the first interview, I promise you, this is the first interview where there's been this much engagement and I've had to bounce between the comments and my own questions. That's a really great sign. I love this for you. I absolutely love this for you. So you came across, there's another one. Y'all are good tonight. Tina, this is good. So you came across filled with conviction, compassion, and clarity. And then Barbara, I'm gonna get to you right after that. Would you say that's what you were looking for when you were writing your book and when you put it out there? That's what you wanted to come across
I wanted to be very clear that it was God's grace, that I'm not perfect. And I wanted to tell my story, but I had to get to a point where I know I'm not going to arrive. And I wanted to talk about my story up until now, and even celebrate the achievements I had up until now, because they deserve to be acknowledged.
Right. Yes.
And, it was, I know I'll never arrive.
As we're all becoming, right? And as we say that, there's another question from Barbara McLean, who is also an accomplished photographer as well. She would like to know, and she's in the process of writing her story. So she has two questions. The first question, how long did it take you to write your story?
It took me years. Mm-hmm. But what's funny is I had a reminder in my phone, and I had it weekly, but I wouldn't delete it, but I wouldn't write. But okay. I knew if I deleted it, I would forget altogether.
Right.
That's how hilarious I am. And then I finally started writing, and I met a friend, and this person encouraged me to go ahead and write. It's not that you're, again, perfect. It's not that you're just telling your story. And once I got comfortable saying, this is my experience, I was like, all right, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to really carve out. I started carving out like 2 hours on the weekend to just sit down and to write.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so. Barbara also was asked, as she's in the process of writing her story, now that you are on the other side, you have pushed through, you have written your book, it is published. What advice would you pass on to someone who was in the process of writing their story?
I would say take your time, because once it's in print, it's there.
Come on now, that's it right there.
I would say to invest in an editor, to invest in a proofreader. If, cover art or whatever, I did my own. Hopefully it looks okay. But I would say like invest in these things because your end product, you want it to be something that you're proud of. And I feel like what I've produced, I am proud of that. But yeah, I would say editor, proofreader. What else? Check and recheck. Yeah. Because I made some mistakes with this. Like, I thought I had my cover right, and then it was a glitch in the system, and then I did something wrong. And so patience with the process, and you helped me to not be discouraged when I did make mistakes. So that was helpful. Have a support system.
Yeah. I remember we went through that a few times. It's like, okay, It's all right. Mistakes happen. So your title, okay, Built by Love, Kept by Grace, Beauty Out of Ashes. How did you come up with that? Such a dope title. What was going through your mind? Like, how did you get to that title?
That's a good question. I don't necessarily remember, but I know I have other series that I want to do with the same word, grace. And I need to find that because I'm good for writing something on paper and losing it. So I started using Google Docs. But Built by Love, I wanted to say I was like built by God and built back up by God, and I was kept by his grace. It was his grace and mercy that really kept me. In Beauty Out of Ashes, I wrote a song about that as well, about how he'll turn your wailing into dancing, and give you beauty for ashes. He'll give you heaviness, praise, spirit of praise for heaviness. I was thinking, I guess, of the things that we trade. We give God and he gives good things back to us. But yeah, he built me. I feel like he kept me, and I'm experiencing the beauty.
Barbara, if you look, I did respond. Same thing I told Tina, the same thing I tell many budding writers. You need to get an editor after you write the book, write it all out first, get it all out first, and then the editor will come in on the back end to get your book together. So I hope that answered your question, Barbara.
And I also want to say that you can take their suggestions, but you don't have to. There were some things I took and there were some things I didn't. But yes, there's more. But a matter of fact, in the back of my book, I put pending titles to force myself to continue to
Come on now, accountability. Come on now, accountability.
You know how many times I put in that page and deleted it and put it in and deleted it, but I said I'm going to put it in there, so I'm going to be held myself accountable to do this.
Come on now. So Barbara says, you give me so much hope as I now have my title for my book. And sometimes you don't know where the title comes from. I didn't have a title at all, and then all of a sudden, one day I was just on the couch like, oh, the 30 Day Slay. Yes. So back to your book. What is your favorite chapter or your favorite part of your book and why?
It's weird, but I think the Wounded but Willing chapter.
Okay.
That's a sermon that I preached years ago. I don't even remember what year.
Well, I want to be clear. I want to clarify that because that was dope. Your favorite chapter, Wounded but Willing. Okay, you know you're gonna have to tell us about that chapter right there, because that's powerful. And the why that's your favorite, girl. That's good.
And I feel like, and I feel like a lot of my sermons early on had to do with sorrow. It's
All
like,
right, that's why we got the Book of Lamentations.
I gotta have a happy sermon. But I feel like I was at this breaking point, and I was like, it wasn't like I was like Jesus in the garden, but I was wounded, but yet I was willing to still try. I was willing to still serve God. I knew that even though I was a little angry with him, I knew he was the only one that could save me. So I was hurt, I was bloodied, I was broken, but I was willing to still serve my family, love. I was still willing to do certain things. And in that chapter, I described the depth of what I went through. I think that's the chapter that I might have mentioned. I don't know if I cried in the therapy session, but I feel like crying now because I was crying probably as I was writing that chapter.
Wow.
But sometimes we don't understand the sacrifice. And even I think it was Paul who said, the fellowship of his suffering. I want to know you and the power of your resurrection and the fellowship of his suffering. And I heard a preacher one time say, don't pray that prayer. But I did pray that prayer because I was sincere, but I feel like I shouldn't have felt all that I felt.
Yeah. You say you pray that prayer. I'm looking at the side. I'm like
he came for me. I felt like the enemy really came for me, but I was wounded, but I was still willing, and I'm still here today. I'm still standing. I'm still in the ministry. I'm still in the faith. Even though I was wounded. Yeah.
So I want you to talk about this next question, because this has been brought up. You could do a class on the principles in your book. Is that something you may do? Okay, so tell to us about the principles in your book that Malika is referring to.
I'm not sure if she's referring to themes that she might have seen throughout or the little nuggets that I pulled out.
Okay.
Because those are the things that spoke to me. Okay,
so tell us about those nuggets that spoke to you that you pulled out.
They were just things that on chapter, I think this chapter 1, I say, yet like the master potter that he is, God took my broken.
She said the nuggets. Yes, the nuggets.
Okay. God took my broken pieces from each circumstance and period and began constructing a beautiful mosaic. So even though I felt broken, even though I feel like my life was kind of like broken apart, I feel like God still created something beautiful. Like it talks about, I think in Romans, I think it's chapter 8, all things work together for good. I feel like he took those broken pieces and still created something beautiful in my life, out of my life. But I just pulled out different things, like what will you choose to do with the options you've been given or the situations that you've created? Is again, power of choice. It's what will you choose to do? I don't want to give anybody my power. God has given us a gift, and it's free will. He's given us free will. He loved us enough to give us free will. Like we don't even have to love him if we don't want to.
Right.
That's powerful. He didn't create us to be robots. But yeah, I feel like I do have a presentation that I used at a school one time when I went to do a talk there, but I do need to create some things because I need to get it out of my head.
Right.
So yes, I am thinking about that, Malika.
And just I am Tina's coach, everybody. Tina is in my group coaching program, and every once in a while we'll do one-on-one sessions. And just so you know, my program and my classes came from my book, and then it just branched out from there. So just speaking some things out there, don't have to be tomorrow, but just to think about it. Some, Malika say yay. Okay, so now we're talking about, this is your memoir, this is your testimony, and you do talk about your divorce. I will say to everyone here, everyone who's asking questions, I do not ask divorcees about their partner. I think it's important to protect the partner's privacy. I'm a divorcee. I wrote a book after my divorce, and I never mentioned my ex-husband. So I do believe it's important to protect that privacy. And if you're going to ask a question, I ask the same from the viewers. But let's talk about you. I have an excerpt on the blog about, you you wrote about your divorce,
Mm.
and you said that the pain and divorce were not in the plan. And when you first got married, you never even thought you would use the word. And you did not grow up and dream about this outcome. This was, my thing is, I always say, we don't say I do to later say I don't. That's not the plan.
Right.
So tell me about that process of realizing, like, wow, I'm here. I didn't expect to be here. What was that like for you? And ultimately, tell us about the process. And I'm sure you wrote about it in your book, of getting back up.
So I actually filed for divorce twice.
Hmm.
I don't think I wrote that in the book, but it was a decision that it took me a while. Oh no, my battery is dying. It took me a while. I'm gonna have to get someone. I didn't plan for this. Is anyone in the living room? Can you please go get my charger on my bed? Thank you. And an extension cord, possibly.
I miss having kids in the house to do that.
The question was, yes, I filed for divorce twice. And I won't say why, but I filed for divorce twice.
Right.
And it took me a while because, like the reasons I said in the book, I never planned on getting divorced. I was a Christian. I was a minister. I didn't want that to be a part of my story. And getting back up from that, it was hard to get back up from that because stuff kept happening. And it's hard to forgive somebody when, they keep doing stuff, but it was hard to kind of let the marriage go because things kept happening. And I live in a fairly small town.
Mm.
You run into people, or, basically you run into people.
I remember my last name is child. Yeah, I remember I deactivated Facebook for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yes.
And different places would remind me of things. And at one time I kind of wanted to just leave my town because everywhere I looked, it was pain. It was just a reminder of the pain that I had felt. But again, I had to start living with intention. I had to start, of course, I had my faith in God, but I had to start giving myself something to look forward to. And that's when I talked about, going to therapy, picking up hobbies, doing different things. That's how I kind of got back to myself.
Beautiful. Okay, so we are now at the point where you're back to yourself. You are writing your book. What would you say you have gone through this before? You've written your memoir. And actually, the one question I do want to ask you, when you were writing your memoir, how did you choose what to add in, what to say? I don't think that needs to be there. What was that process like? Because this is, I really feel like memoirs are not just your regular books. I chronicled my journey of getting back up after divorce. So like I said, the one thing I chose to not put in the book was anything regarding my ex. So when you're writing your memoir, what was the process like of deciding, okay, this can go in, this cannot go in?
I think it was just my feeling as I was writing it. If I felt, if it didn't sit well with me, I probably deleted it out or I reworded it.
Right.
To make sure it came through the way I wanted it to come through. And I told somebody earlier, I don't like being misunderstood. So I wanted to have it as clear as possible, but also not, shaming anybody, not trying to defame anybody. I didn't want this to be, and I made it clear, I don't want to write from a place of bitterness, but to give somebody hope. So anything I felt that would do that, or anything that I felt would, I guess, incriminate anybody too, like, I'm not going to put that in writing. I might talk about it verbally, like I said, or talk about it one-on-one to help somebody, but I didn't want it in the book.
Okay. So the book has been published. We are here. first and foremost with yourself and yourself. And now you're an author. So to add on it, you're a photographer, you're a singer. You released your single this year. While we're here, can you tell everybody where they can find your single?
It's on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. I put an artistic twist on my name, Kwateena, and that's when I go through my paranoid moments. I should have just used my regular spelling, but I was like, how many Kwateenas are in the United States? Mm-hmm. But whatever. Now I've authored a book and used my real name, so it really didn't matter. So
right. So you are a photographer, you're a singer, you're an elder in the church, you are now an author. What would you say is next for Tina, or what would you like to be next for Tina?
So I'm actually finishing, I filled a vacancy for the Planning and Zoning Commission. So that was something I took on and pushed past fear and was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to serve my community. I really like to serve my community. And I really want to build wealth to give back more to the community. So if anybody wants to give me wealth or give me avenues on how to get wealth so I can do more, coach me on how to do that. Let me know. But so yeah, my seat for that will be over in November when the new elected officials take over. I just want to grow more in my my photography. I want to work more on my books, even photo books. I didn't even know there were photo books until I took the photography class.
Oh yeah.
Adults had photo books. I thought they were just children's picture books. So that was exciting for me to learn. And I kind of want to do a documentary / photo journal, film, whatever. And ministry. I want to be able to serve in ministry. So. Okay.
2 more questions, and then you have 2 more questions. You have made it through your first live stream. One of the most engaging live streams I've had with other people. I don't know. I can't remember. I think the only other live stream I had that was this engaging was with Robin Robbins, and that was a while ago. So this has been quite the engaging live stream. Now, you're on the other side. If you can speak to the Tina that was about to write the book and was scared to, and was taking a while to, what would you say to that Tina?
Wow. I don't know if I'm far enough from it being released to know what to say, except that you probably see yourself differently than other people. And you should, again, give yourself more grace and keep going.
That's good. That is good. Okay, so tell us, I know you have a book right there with you. Hold your book up. Give us the name of the book again. And where can we buy your book?
So you can buy the book on lulu.com by searching my name. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. I even saw it on Target and Walmart. So you can search there. They globally distribute it from Lulu, even though they're self-publishing. They're very big with independent authors. So that's great. And yeah, I think, and then I have copies personally. So if you're local to me, and we can meet up, you can save on shipping and I can sign your copy for you.
Okay. I am putting it in the comments right now. Platforms. Okay. I put that in the comments. All right. So if people want to follow you, to keep up with you and what you're doing next, how can we keep up with you?
So you can follow me at my artist name at Kwateena, Kwateena, and that's on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Now also, I know I said that was the last question.
And Clubhouse. I keep forgetting about Clubhouse, but I am on there once in a while.
Also, Tina is also a part of my blogging team. So she has stepped outside of her comfort zone big time. I did reach out to her. I needed a couple more people, and I was like, you know what? This would be great to keep your juices flowing. So Tina is also a blogger on ShamarLaTanya.com. If you go to the Meet the Stories of Transformation Bloggers, she has her own section there as well. I put in the comments Lulu.com, Christina Frazier, and all platforms. So you can search her name and you can find her book. Give us the name of the book one more time before you go.
Built by Love, Kept by Grace, Beauty Out of Ashes.
Beautiful. All right. So congratulations. You got through your first live stream, first of many. I know, right? I am, as a coach, I am very, and I'm about to get emotional. I'm trying not to get emotional. As a coach, I am very, 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 very proud of you. I have had the ability to watch you grow. And I remember saying to you at the beginning of the year when you preached at a church in Vernon, I came up to you in the parking lot and I said, you are growing this year. This is your year. Mm-hmm. And to see you doing this it just does my heart so well. I'm very, very proud of you. And I'm wishing you many blessings and many success. And that is all. Do you have any last words before we close out?
I just want to say, you guys, I mean, you're probably already following Shamar Latanya, but you should do that. And if you haven't tried her as a coach, you should do that as well.
Oh, thank you.
And I just want to say, stay encouraged. The things I talked about in my book are grace, mercy, hope, faith. I want you to tie another knot and hang on. Give Jesus a try if you have not already. And keep pushing towards your goals. Time is going to pass anyway. That's the big thing. Like time is going to pass regardless. So, just try. Just give it a try.
All right, everybody. I'm going to bring Tina back from the stream. Thank you so much again. All right, so that is the end of tonight's live stream, Powerful on Purpose. Will the series continue? Probably. I will only do it once a month, though. I was trying to do it more than that, but your girl out here signing corporate coaching contracts and whatnot, feel me? So it's like keeping me really busy. But be on the lookout. Make sure you follow Tina on all platforms. Make sure you follow me on all platforms. I'm Shamar Latanya everywhere. Literally, Google me. I'm not even trying to be funny, but for real, y'all can Google me. Literally Google Shamar Latanya and everything will come up. Thank you to everyone who came on. Thank you to everyone who engaged, asked questions. I am really proud that you got all the answers that you needed. And I will see you all next Thursday. We're going to finish up the series on distractions. We are going to start to finish that up. So I will see you all next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to finish the series on distractions. Not really finish it. So I think we got like 3 more to go, but we're going to get back into it. Okay. So I love you all. Have a great evening.